It's the George Plaster Show. 30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee. Featuring Tennessee Sports Hall of Famer Watson Brown. And it's a shame it's taken this long to get an introduction for this Tennessee Sports Hall of Famer, Kelly Holcomb, along with young gun Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in. It is a cloudy, overcast Thursday, tomorrow and Saturday. Get ready. There's a lot of rain supposedly moving in. That's your weather forecast, such as it's worth. Let's go to Murfreesboro. Say hello to Kelly Holcomb. Kelly, how are you?
I'm good, George. Al Archer with the local forecast, man. I love it. You keep me updated on what's going on in the world of weather.
I try.
You may have missed your call, and you should have been a meteorologist.
Yeah, it would have. I mean, it couldn't have been less successful than where I've been. So, what'd you do last night?
What did I do? I watched Jalen and her basketball team were in Jacksonville last night. We watched them. They ended up beating them, but they had another girl go down that was she was all conference last year, a little girl from Manchester, Bella Vincent. She went out last night, so I was surprised that they won. They won by 5, I think, at the end. Tough fought battle, and then went to Costco with my wife and my daughter. This is a little bit too much information right now, but
Yeah, it might be.
And then came home and watched a little UT basketball. I'm still impressed with that Dalton Connect kid, man. Good gracious, can he elevate and shoot a jump shot? It's unbelievable.
He can flat out get off the floor. Billy, I went to the Belmont Murray State game last night.
Mm-hmm.
Very disappointed in the crowd. They only had 1,600. This is their announced attendance, a little over 1,600. On paper, that would appear to be Belmont's second biggest rival behind Lipscomb. And it just really didn't pan out that way at the gate. Great game, went right down to the wire. And Belmont made a couple of plays late. Let me ask this question. How quickly can you put the best play that happened in the game up there?
I've got it ready.
Okay. Kelly, watch this.
Oh, wow.
Sykes. Big three right there, Tom. For a semester of two.
Free semester, man. That was big time. That shot by Will Sykes.
Will Sykes, but free semester.
Yeah.
That's
free semester. That's something going to Belmont, man. I'm sure it costs a pretty penny to go to Belmont, just like it does Lipscomb.
He had really good hang time.
He did.
And that
was in
thing
the air
was
for a
up there a
long
ways.
time. Yeah.
Hey, he got the rotation. He finished. He followed through. He got it up in the air where it's more likely to make the shot, and he did. That was awesome.
You know, it's weird. You talk about the crowd. It obviously didn't look like it usually does for Belmont Murray State. I was thinking about that last night too. It's been a while since Belmont has been, I say down. They're not really down, but I mean, 13-11. They're usually single-digit loss. On the bubble at least, or that. I mean, they're not even on the bubble really.
Well, a couple of things, and maybe we'll cross this path with Coach B. When Belmont and Murray made the decision to go Missouri Valley Conference, I believe they both thought they would be in the top 3 or 4 in that conference. And I don't want to put words in people's mouths. So far, it hasn't been that way. There are teams in that league that are better than them. What I notice right now, when I watch Belmont, they've got Malik Dia and they've got Cade Tyson.
And that's it, pretty much.
That is, it shouldn't be it, but they don't have the great shooters they used to have that could space you around, 4 out, 1 in.
Yeah, and
Their guards have got to do more than what I saw last
Yeah.
night. Let's put it that
Jacoby
way.
Gillespie still out, correct?
He played last
Or
night.
he did play.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, maybe this gets them going. But you're right, the guards you got to have good guard play, especially when you get into March and they don't have the the Taylor Barnetts, the Craig Bradshaws, the just the lights out shooters that you got to have outside. So Belmont.
What is that in the background? Is that Kelly?
Me? Is that me? I don't know. I got people talking in my house. I've got some folks in my house, but
really, I mean,
other than that, can you hear that?
Vital.
Can you hear that?
We could there. Listen, tell them this is vital to world security. What we're getting at.
Hey, when you talk about, I would like to know about the whole country, man, because there's so many things for kids and for people to do now with all this technology and all this stuff. I'd be interested to see just if numbers are down with places like Belmont, Lipscomb, with some big schools. Maybe I want because there's so many other things for kids that are going to college now do, and you don't see as many kids going to games like they used to.
Having come from being a marketing and promotions director there, here's what I would tell you. I think their students will gear up 2 or 3 times in a season to really come in big numbers.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what game. Maybe it was the Lipscomb game. Man, they came in great numbers.
Right.
And they were huge. Last night, okay. Not what I expected it would be.
Yeah.
But the real deal last night was on the other side of the court. I'm not going to call it the old folks section, but it was a little sparse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Belmont gets a win last night, big one. Maybe they can get some momentum going. Also, I missed this yesterday, but Nick Saban is joining College Game Day. Former Alabama head coach. He will he'll kind of lend himself all across ESPN's platforms, but he will be an analyst on College Game Day. I don't know if they'll have him on during the pick segment. They're pretty crowded. I guess they'll still have Corso, and you got all the other guys up there, but Nick Saban joining College Game Day.
Okay.
George, did I hear this correctly that even with Nick Saban gone, I think Alabama was still number 2 in the recruiting class? Am I correct about that, Billy?
I think they're up there, top 2 or 3, I think. Yeah.
And I think like wasn't Tennessee like 14, 15, or 16, something like that?
Yeah. Yeah, outside top 10, I think.
Okay.
So,
wow.
Okay. Try this one. I have no proof of this. I believe that Nick Saban looked at the landscape, as my buddy Wes Durham said, and said, I didn't sign up for this. Now, he's probably not ever going to say that, but that's what I believe. And I don't think, it makes me a Phi Beta Kappa that I may have come up with that conclusion. So I think we've expected that he would end up there. He was, Alabama's coach on a bunch of stuff there, including Pat McAfee every week. This feels like him saying, miss coaching. I'm not going to miss all the other crap. The closest I can get to that.
Yeah. And
I can see that. Yeah, absolutely.
I think he was making $1 million per, maybe not per appearance, but he was making $1 million when he went on with McAfee. So obviously, I think that's
Nick Saban.
They paid him $1 million to come on. With him. That's what I heard.
Well, I submitted an offer to him.
Hold on, that's what you heard, or that's what we know, Billy?
I heard that.
Have we got the rumor? Who said that? Who is they? Who is that?
I heard it this morning.
Okay. Is it a pretty reliable, credible source?
Yeah, pretty reliable.
Pretty reliable, but not 100% reliable.
I mean, I think it's true, and I mean, he didn't go on for free.
Well, it got out that he paid Aaron Rodgers like $1 million.
Yeah.
And all along, I just thought they were friends.
Come on.
What else you got there, Billy?
The Titans are expected to hire former Raiders interim OC Bo Hardigree as their new quarterbacks coach, a former Tennessee quarterback. I want to say he was a walk-on. Tony Basilio came on here and said that Hardigree was a member of Phil Fulmer's coaching tree. He served as the Raiders interim OC, as I mentioned. They averaged 23 points per game in the 9 games under him, and they won 5 of those 6 games with rookie quarterback Aiden O'Connell. So all of a sudden, this offensive coaching staff looks pretty darn good for the Titans.
Look, I mean, it's early. Who knows? When you have no losses,
Right.
optimism is a good thing. And right now, that's about all you can go on.
Yeah, I was listening to. I was watching the thing with Jamar Chase, man. Some of those guys, T. Higgins and all, they were really excited about Brian Callahan. They hated to see him go, but they were optimistic about, and they were glad that he got a shot to be a head coach. So it looks like they got the right guy so far.
That's
like
a good
you said,
sign.
there's no wins and losses yet, right?
It's a good sign when your former players are happy for you.
Yeah.
Also, Michigan's Ward Manuel has been named the chair of the College Football Selection Committee. Former defensive end at Michigan, he'll replace NC State AD Boo Corrigan, whose term had expired after just 2 seasons. Why the term is over in 2 years, I don't know, but they've got a fresh new crew. Washington State AD is up there. Former Missouri coach Gary Pinkel is on the committee. Baylor AD Mac Rhodes, Virginia AD Carla Williams, and Arkansas AD Hunter Yurachek are all
a former Vandy marketing and promotions director.
Yeah.
So let me ask this question, and I realize this is maybe not fair, but shouldn't you try to get people from places that are not likely to be in the playoff? I mean, Michigan, it would be an upset next year if they're not in it, right?
Probably so, yeah, but
aren't you asking for trouble? There are 100 million people out there that you could put on that committee.
I kind
You
of
don't
agree.
think there's not talk in Columbus? He'll screw us. If he gets a chance, he'll screw us.
That's why I don't understand why they have ADs in these roles. I mean, why do they have to have athletic directors on the committee?
Okay, let me toss it a different way. Who would you have?
I mean, former ADs. I mean, why sitting ADs at current schools that, like you said, might have a chance at the playoff or likely chance? I mean, I guess I can understand schools like Virginia and Baylor who don't have a shot or probably won't. I don't know. It's kind of a weird.
Well,
topic.
it's an interesting thought. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just asking the question. Don't you open yourself up for some stuff?
Yeah, it seems like there's always going to be a little bias, no matter who you are, though, because you're getting guys from college or played in college, and they're always going to be biased towards their school, I would think. I mean, they all go in saying, "Well, I'm not going to be biased about it. I mean, I've got a job to do." But that them heartstrings start pulling a little bit, and you're like, "Well, I'm going to fight a little bit more for my school."
Also, Wisconsin's head coach Luke Fickell is hoping that Mike Vrabel, his best friend, can be around the team starting this spring. He said he's hoping to have him around as much as possible in an informal role this season. They played together at Ohio State and coached together there. And Fickell actually joked with ESPN that he's not intimidated by Vrabel's 6'4" frame.
What a stupid comment. For those who maybe have not paid attention to it, Diana Rossini tweeted out something to the effect that one anonymous general manager told her that Vrabel's stature, size-wise, is intimidating. Friggin' grow up. I mean, really?
George is saying, yeah.
Really?
Grow up.
I mean, Come on.
I agree. I don't think that has anything to do with anything. Like, what is it, man? The dude played football for 15 years. I mean, he's in the Patriots Hall of Fame. I mean, he's a big guy. Like, who cares? We're not worried about his stature. We're worried about how he can do his job.
I was a little taken back by the tweet.
I like this though. I think if Vrabel is added in an informal role, Wisconsin's going to be better because of it. They're going to be tougher. Fickle was a nose tackle at Ohio State. Vrabel was a linebacker. Imagine facing that defense.
They'll run.
Yeah.
Have fun. Expect a run. Okay.
Hold on.
Oh, there's more.
There's more.
No, hold on, George.
Hold your
hold on.
horses, George.
Yeah.
Relax,
SEC
Francis.
Last night, Tennessee knocks off LSU 88-68. Dalton Connect 27 points, as Kelly said earlier. And Auburn beats Alabama 99-81.
Beat the dog do out of them.
And they
Hey,
covered.
they took it out on the boys.
As someone told you they would.
A&M beat Missouri. That was an ugly game. And then Mississippi State beat Georgia 75-62. That's what we got.
We're done.
We're done.
After the break, Mark McGee will join us. The Preds will have had, 9, 10, 11 days off from when their All-Star break started to when they play again, which is Saturday night. We'll show you where they are in the standings, and we'll show you what we think it really means, because this will be fairly sobering. Stick around.
It was the most horrible experience that any mother could ever go through. I knew that I needed to get help. My friend, she immediately said, "You need to call Bart Durham." And you guys were there within an hour. You guys are like family for us.
Yeah, sure is nice to connect with the people that you're doing your best to help.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
I'm Watson Brown.
I'm Kelly Holcomb.
I'm Billy Derrick.
We're the George Plaster Show. We've been Nashville's best sports talk for the last 30 years. And you know what? We still are.
Catch us live weekdays from 2 to 4 p.m. Central Time in Nashville on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Also, the podcast version is available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Looking for more than just awards and trophies? Southern Trophy House is your one-stop solution. For over 60 years, their team has created lasting impressions with a personalized touch. From embroidery to screen-printed apparel to corporate awards, signs, and name badges, they have everything you need to keep your brand shining bright. With their knowledgeable customer service team, you can relax as they create, produce, pack, and ship merchandise and awards on time and on budget. That includes etched crystal awards, custom-cut acrylic, name badges, embroidered Richardson ball caps, banners, screen-printed T-shirts, laser-engraved Yeti cups, and knives. Recognize your hard-working team from Southern Trophy House, where they do their best to help you recognize your best.
located at 2705 Nolensville Pike in Nashville. Give them a holler, 615-256-7295. Visit southerntrophy.com. Southern Trophy House, for all your personalization and recognition needs.
appreciate your patience with us. I don't pretend to know what happened, although I heard during the commercial something go pop. And from there, Billy's done a terrific job of getting us back on. Billy, thank you.
You got it.
Thanks for everybody's patience. Let's say hello to Mark McGee as we talk a little Preds. Gee, how are you?
I'm doing great. I got word there. I lost you guys.
Yeah, well, we got a little worried too. I'm going to start the way I normally do with a look at the standings where it really matters, and that's positions 7, 8, and then below. And looks like we're able to get the graphics on this. Guy, a year ago, as people can see, the Kings right now are in the 7th spot. The Blues, by virtue of a tiebreaker for the moment, are in the 8th spot, but the Preds have the same number of points. Mark, would you agree with me? A year ago, it took 95 points to get in the 8th slot in the West, and that seems like a pretty good barometer of what will be needed for whoever ends up number 8.
I think you're right. 31 games left for the Predators, so see how it works out from that standpoint. But they're right there on the edge. So, and really, when you think about it, this team was not considered to even be close to being in the playoffs this year. They were expected to be a Blackhawks, Sharks, Ducks type team. So the fact that they're knocking on the door of the playoffs means something.
Okay, so I'm gonna fire this one at you. Because in doing the math, Preds have 31 regular season games left. If you had no ties, you would need to go something like 20 and 11 over those final 31 to get to 95 or close to it. Now, in hockey, there are a lot of ties, overtime wins, overtime losses. More realistically, it seems like they would need to go something like 17 in the victory column, 8 in the loss column, and 6 overtime losses that would get you a point.
Right.
And this is not going to be easy.
No, it's not going to be an easy trip, but it's not going to be an easy road at all. And you got, these next 2 games, and you've got start back after this long layoff with the Coyotes, who beat them twice already this year, and at home. You got the Devils at home, an Eastern Conference team. You come back with Dallas on the 15th at home, and then you go away for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games, and they're at St. Louis, who's right there with you. The Vegas, Los Angeles Kings are right there with you, and then you got the Ducks and the Sharks and the Ducks, and then they come back against the Senators on the 27th of February. So these next few games are going to decide what Barry Trotz does at the trade deadline on March 8th.
Okay, give me your thoughts here. The season ticket holder fan in me believed that when they got to the All-Star break, there were 3 or 4 players that looked like they were running on fumes, looked like they were out of gas. Production level had gone down severely. Now, the 10-day layoff, it would appear, should really help this team. Give me some thoughts about what Barry Trotz and Andrew Brunette talked about during the break as far as changes in personnel of what you already have and what's available in Milwaukee.
Well, I think what they're looking at right now, like I said, I think Andrew Brunette said the team had hit the wall. A lot of it has to do with the offensive structure he's got and the demands they're making on the offensive structure. You look at the top line, Raleigh and Forsberg and Nyquist, and they were doing really great. But of late, they have really struggled because teams now are concentrating on them, knowing that's not the second, third, and fourth lines maybe aren't contributing like they once were at one stretch. So they're really concentrating on that top line, putting all their effort on it. So so a lot of people are talking about maybe they're certainly not going to drop Forsberg on a Raleigh down. Well, Forsberg's kind of dropped off a little bit. He had a great All-Star game, but he's kind of dropped down a little bit the last few games. Maybe Nyquist drops down the line. Been a couple of possibilities. A lot of people think Tomasino might get a chance to go back up the front line. I think that's where he started the season, and he's been kind of up and down, but they might give him a shot there. So they've got. But I think the team is, needed a rest. It came at a perfect time for this team to kind of sit back and just get their legs back and get their mind straight again, because I think a lot of it's been a lot of mental stress, a lot of physical stress from that standpoint. You got a lot of depth down in Milwaukee. Milwaukee's won 12 straight games. And you've got Mark Jankowski's down there doing well. You got Stasny doing well down there. You got several players down there doing great. And a lot of people are saying move some of these veteran guys at the deadline and give these Milwaukee guys a chance to come up and show what they can do.
Which is a very likely possibility. Guy, for the hockey novice, and even though I'll pretend to act like I know my hockey, compared to most people or knowledge of other sports, I'm a novice. Why is Andrew Burnett's system so much more physically taxing than, say, anybody else you want to toss out there? They're
always moving. He wants his team to move the puck and move it up, and the forecheck's big. They've got to be moving the puck, and even the defensive guys are expected to be offensive guys as well. Everybody's got to contribute on this, and it's a speedier game. It's a faster approach. It's not any different than some other teams have, but it's a big adjustment for this team because they haven't played this way in a long time. A lot of the guys who have been on the team, they have not played the style of hockey under Hines. They did under LaViolette, but not under Hines for a couple of years. And so it's taking some time to get back to that style and a more wide open type of approach. And, that's why they have some lapses mentally as to where they should be and that type of thing, because it's just a different style of play. It's what they needed, but it's an adjustment period. But it's been over 50 games. The adjustment period should be over with by now. But I think the legs, and you've got a lot of young guys who are playing a long season right now. For them, the NHL season will be different than the HL season, and so I think that's told on a lot of players too, that are getting a lot more playing time than they have in the past as well. And I think that's helped from a fatigue standpoint also.
Barry Trotz, since he's taken over, has gotten a lot of people's attention. When he got the ability to get rid of Matt Duchene, a lot of us who feel like we know something believe that was a positive in the locker room. Do you think he knows at this point what he wants to do at the deadline, or is this totally predicated on how this team plays over the next 3 weeks?
I think the next roughly 10 games, 9 to 10 games will decide what he does. I think he'll look at it then. I mean, you don't always want to be all while we squeaked into the playoffs. And I think a lot of people are looking at maybe now's the time they got to maybe look at maybe making a big deal. Like, you see Charles's name keeps on popping up ever since Pierre LeBrun mentioned it, that Trotz was open to offers. That name keeps on popping up, and for Saros, they're going to get a first-round draft pick, but all that depends on which team they trade with. Because a 21st round, for 21st first-round draft pick doesn't mean as much as a 4th or 5th round does. So 4th or 5th place pick. So but also they'll probably get a prospect and maybe even get a starting player and another draft pick or two. So they'll get a real big haul from somebody like Saros right now. So that's something to look at. You want to build a team into a team that's not just hanging out there on the edge of the playoffs.
Okay, I'm going to ask you one last thing and then turn it over to Kelly. In a UC Saros potential trade, does Lankinen become the number one till the end of the season, or does the Russian kid take over immediately?
I think Yaroslav Askarov comes up immediately. He's 8-0 in January.
Does he become the one?
Yeah, I think so. I think you have to do that. That's your future, supposedly, especially to get rid of Saros. You're saying this is our future. And Lankinen has had his moments, but Lankinen's not playing as well as he was at one point. He's not as sharp as he was. So I think Yaroslav Askarov would be coming up and taking over. Does that mean that they've given up the season by doing that? I don't think so. But I think it gives them a chance to see how he He's done everything he can at AHL. He's made the All-Star team. He won a game in that series. He's player of the month, goaltender of the month for January. Like I said, 8-0. His overall goals against average is 1.73. So I mean, he's got all the tools. And he's done everything he can down there in Milwaukee. And Tross always says the road to Nashville goes through Milwaukee. He's traveled the road in Milwaukee. It's time to move him up to Nashville.
I've been to Milwaukee, but they did not call me back once I was there. Okay, I lied. Billy, I'm sorry. I got one more. Give me your odds of Saros being traded at the deadline. 50-50, less, more. What do you really think?
I think 40-60.
Really? That high?
Yeah, I think. Like I said, it all matters. We're talking about some of this. We got to look at 9 or 10 games down the road here. Is what Barry might have in his mind. I mean, still, Saros is still a bargain. He's not going to be a free agent until 2025. He's still a bargain goaltender to have on your team. So I mean, and right now the Predators right now, I mean, they've got a really nice. I've got now the cap space situation. They've got a pretty friendly cap space situation right now where they can go out and make a little bit of a splash in the summer in the free agent market, especially if they get rid of some of these players like Alexander Carrier's name keeps popping up. Of course, Tyson Berry's been mentioned quite a bit as far as the trade situation. Yakov Trenin. So those are some guys who will free up a little bit of cash, a lot, but a little bit. But those are guys that may get traded. And if those guys get traded, you might get a 4th rounder, 5th rounder, 3rd rounder, whatever. Get some playoff, get some draft picks. But not anything great from those 3. But they all, and Trent's like your coach's dream, so it's tough to get rid of him. But I think he's talking about it. So,
okay, Kelly, say hello to Guy.
George, I want to thank you and Guy for taking every question that I had. I've got one left. I mean, good gracious, why can't
Beautiful.
can we get on the same page or what?
I think we did.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here, Guy, and I'm just going to ask an outlandish question. I don't know if you can answer it, but I'm looking. I was looking today, and I saw where they're having captain night. And they've got Mike Fisher, Tom Fitzgerald, Kimmo Timonen, and Shea Weber coming back. Who is the greatest to this point? Who is the greatest Nashville Predator in your eyes?
The greatest Predator? Oh, that's a tough one.
Yeah,
one.
Exactly. I knew it was a hard one.
Well, from a captain standpoint, Tom Fitzgerald, because he came into an expansion team and gave that team a little bit of an identity and really brought it all together. These guys were from everywhere, and Tom was a perfect was his GM now for New Jersey Devils. But he brought a consistency to that team and really gave it an identity from the very beginning. So I have to look at him from a captain standpoint. He's doing such a great job. An individual player, Shea Weber, I think is by far the most outstanding player on the team that they've had. Goaltending wise, I have to Pekka Rinne, of course, has been tremendous, and Thomas Vokoun's not too far behind. So they've had some good players, but it's hard to pick just one of those guys out because all of them have made contributions in different ways at different times to the team.
Well, so this will be my last one because y'all and you literally talked about this earlier, but I just want to know again, like, do you think that I know we got some games to go, and I think you said like 10 games into this thing, but do you think the Predators will be buying or selling? It's kind of like a baseball deal. Like, will they be buying or selling here shortly?
It'll be what happens in the next 9 to 10 games. I think that it could go either way. Calgary's already become a seller. They pretty much said that they pretty much feel like they're out of the picture, so they've already become a seller. I think that I think right now that probably Barry could go either way. He's probably got a list on both sides in his back pocket, players he'd like to maybe get at the trade deadline, players he'd like to maybe get rid of at the trade deadline if he wants to sell off some people. And so, but these next 9 to 10 games, I mean, he's going to be watching those closely. And all those games are, except for the Sharks and Ducks and Senators. Well, Senators, though, gave Predators a really rough time on the road. And the Ducks beat the Predators, so I don't know. So, but it's it's a pretty formidable list of teams that they got to play against, and teams that they need to knock off, like the Coyotes this week on the 10th, and then the Blues on the road on the 17th. Those are teams they've got to knock down, and the Kings later on. So these are teams they have to win against to have any hope of staying in that playoff race.
Okay, I think we can take it one step further. If they flame out at home in this 3-game homestand, you can forget it. They're sellers.
Yeah, they're sellers. That's very good. That's a cold, cruel way of looking at it, George. But yes, you're right.
Yeah, I mean, if they were to flame out, they've got to get, it seems to me, 4, 5, or 6 points on this 3-game homestand. Anything less than that, he's leaning to selling.
Well, they've got the Coyotes especially. They've got to beat them. The Devils, the Devils are right in the thick of a playoff fight of their own. So they're going to be tough to beat. And then the Stars come in, and the Stars do better on the road than they do at home. So it'd be interesting to see how the Stars do against them as well. So those are 3 tough games. If they get 5 points out of that, I'll say, okay, we're ready to roll. But then you got those
road trip.
Let's see, five road games, and you've got to survive that. So, and you're going to go from St. Louis all the way to Anaheim. So,
Guy, let me toss this one last thing, and Kelly, feel free to jump in on this. So UC, rightfully so, is very popular.
Yes.
I don't think a GM can necessarily worry about this, but what will be the fan reaction if they trade him?
Well, I think if they trade him for some formidable return, I think fans will say, yeah, maybe this gets us over the hump. Maybe not this season, but for next season, the season after that. I mean, you got to look at this is the type of player that can help your future. But you got to get the right parts as a result of that. So, if they get a high first round pick, the first 4 or 5 slots there, that'd be a great deal for them. They haven't drafted that high in forever, and so they get a prospect or a starter, maybe another backup, maybe another round pick lower down. That's future work right there, and hopefully puts you over the top. So you got to find somebody that wants that's got all that combination and willing to give it up. But goaltending, everybody wants a goaltender right now.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, Guy. I've got a lot of confidence in Barry Trotz. When he walked in here and sent Matt Duchene packing, that told me that he had done his homework and he knew what the problems were internally. And he basically told you without saying anything, Matt Duchene is an internal issue and I'm getting him the hell out of here. Exactly. He won me over with that.
And got Ryan Johansson out as well, So they made 2 major plays right there from that standpoint. Now, I trust Barry. I mean, he knows as much about the game as anybody does, and he's never made a decision rashly. I mean, he's going to be thinking about this quite a bit and looking and probably talking to several people from that standpoint. But it's things you have to consider. It's what makes
Absolutely.
being a GM. What makes the GM fun and challenging both. From that standpoint, seeing what you can come up with, but they're missing some people. They need another big scorer, and they need another defenseman right now, at least one. And so they've got some work. They've still got some work to do to get in heavy consistent into heavy contention for the playoffs. But are fans willing to say, okay, we may barely make it. We'll probably play first round games and leave again, or whatever. Or they're saying, hey, we really need to make a major move to move us up a notch or two, where we're right in consideration of the top 5 or 6 teams in the conference.
Guy, you were a good man to do this. I'm sorry we had the slight delay, but glad we could work it out, and thank you as always.
Yeah, it's no problem. Appreciate you having me on. Thank you.
Mark McGee joining us to talk Preds hockey. We'll go to the break. We'll have more. We'll have Ron Bargatze at the top of the hour. We got a lot to get into with him. Believe me. Stay tuned.
Hit After Hit has become the baseball store in Tennessee. They have over 1,000 different models of gloves and over 1,500 wood bats. They also have several Iron Mike pitching machines as well as a Hit Tracks machine. If they don't have it, you probably don't need it. We're proud to call Hit After Hit the official shirt provider of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night.
Forget the fact that Sir Speedy Music City is owned by my BGA classmate James Warren. Their work stands on its own merit. James and his staff do incredible work, as evidenced by the huge banners at the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. If you're looking for quality to help your marketing and business communications, and you want it at a reasonable price, these are your folks. Call them at 615-832-9511 or go to print at sirspeedymusiccity.com. And be sure to tell them Plaz sent you.
Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormone deficiencies and imbalances, and Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and wife Daphne, along with their experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve their quality of life, improve your immune system, energy level, cognitive function, and more. There's no better time to achieve a healthy lifestyle. What are you waiting for? Give Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment at 615-486-3458 or visit the website coolspringsmd.com.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank & Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank & Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank & Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Convenience and value, 2 words that we expect when we do business. Our goal at JHA Company is to deliver just that, both to our school partners and to our customers. Whether you're purchasing photos, yearbooks, class jewelry, letter jackets, school spirit wear, or senior graduation products, we strive to make the experience easy, convenient, and cost-effective. Find out more at jhacompany.com or call 615-867-6345 for more information. JHA, one source, one company.
Okay, Billy, we might just have a little bit of conversation and then go right into stat of the day and then get Coach B in here, if that'll work for you.
Yep.
Okay, let me toss this at both of y'all. The question I asked at the end is a really interesting one because it's different in the NHL than it is in the NFL. The NFL doesn't have to sell a ticket, and their TV contracts are big enough that they're going to do fine. If you lose money owning an NFL franchise, you are a moron business-wise. It's virtually impossible. NHL is a much different story. Their TV packages are very limited nationally.
Improved, but limited.
Improved, but limited. Good point. Much more in the regional Bally sports kind of stuff.
Well, and
Who
it's
knows?
It's still a Northern Canadian sport league.
And you have to sell tickets. Gate receipts are vital in hockey. So that's one of the things you kind of have to consider as you think about what Barry might be up against right now. What is the fan reaction to trading him? Do they end up understanding that, hey, this is a move to get us past this whole, trying to hang at the 8th spot, that this franchise wants to be better than that, wants to be a perennial, real contender, as opposed to a limp in at the wire. So you all tell me, a UC Saros trade, how do the fans react to that?
Man, I'm kind of with Gee. Initially, I thought Gee might say something more along the lines of, man, he's kind of the heart and soul of the team. As they go, as Saros goes, they go. We've seen games where if he makes up to 35, 40 saves, Preds are winning. If he's not playing well, they're losing. So I don't know. I'm kind of up in the air, but it all depends. Say they, like you said, if they flame out and they end up trading Saros and you get a first-round pick and top 10 pick, top 5 slot, I think the fans might be happy about that because you're already looking to next year and you got that draft pick and you can already accelerate to next season and you've got a nice push.
Kelly?
I just think it's all how it turns out, George. People are going, they know it's a business. Everybody knows professional ball is a business. Professional hockey, professional football, basketball, baseball. It turns out to a business. That's what you hire a guy like Barry Trotz to do. He's knowledgeable about it. He understands it. You have to understand your players, the character of your players, and what makes the team work. And if he's kind of a stalwart in the locker room, it's kind of like a Kevin Byard situation from Tennessee. They knew they weren't going anywhere. They thought they could get some stuff for him, so they wanted to set themselves up because they weren't going to the playoffs. But I think people, it's just like teammates. Teammates are like, sometimes they're shaking their head and they're like, "What are we doing?" But if it turns out that it was the right move and we bring the right guy in or the right guys in, then we can look back on it and say, hey, that was a huge pivotal moment in this franchise history. But if it don't work out, they're going to be pissed. But fans are fans. Like, you're going to make some of them happy and some of them are not ever going to be happy. So you never really know, George, how it's going to turn out. But I just know this, that if it turns out okay, nobody will be questioning Barry Trotz about it.
Go ahead and read that.
Scott on Facebook says, better be proven assets for Saros. Documented 30-goal scorer, multiple years. Not, well, this guy has upside. Multiple 30-goal scorers, skins on the wall. Draft picks are not worth the paper they are listed on a lot of the time.
Depends on how high they are.
That's true. I do think that's a good point. Draft picks are not a slam dunk to. Now you could argue top 5. Most of the time those guys do pan out, but if you're saying top 15, top 20, then it's getting dicey.
Okay, we want to do stat of the day?
Let's do it. John English.
I didn't exactly hear Kelly going, "Oh, I can't wait."
I don't know. We had to have Tim get one for us yesterday. We were totally bombing, and he told us Dan Marino, which was a good one.
God bless Tim Couch.
God bless Timmy.
John English brings it to us every day. They're open during the week, Tuesday through Friday from noon to 5, and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 5. Give them a call, 931-492-4304. All right, here we go. On Tuesday, Clayton Kershaw re-signed with the Dodgers and now has the longest current tenure with a single team. What active player has the second longest active tenure with a single team? And remember, current free agents do not count as currently tenured with the team.
Oh, gosh.
Good gracious, dude. Really?
Talk
Current
about
free agents
trying
don't
to
count
get
as-
a needle out of a haystack. So, I need some stall time on this.
I see a white flag.
I'd say
Phone a
there's
friend.
a real shot of it. Because it's not.
Billy, is it a high-profile guy?
Fairly. I mean, if you're a baseball fan, you know who this guy is.
Yeah.
Good hitter, good fielder. Good. Give me something. Give us some clues.
Great hitter, plays out west.
Oh.
It's not Mike Trout.
No, it's not Mike Trout.
Trout hadn't been around long enough. Okay, out west.
Out west.
I'm trying to think. Seattle.
Yeah.
Seattle, San Diego. I don't know. Put it up there.
Yeah.
This really sucks that I'm not even, truthfully, not even in the ballpark.
I thought you were a baseball nerd.
I
George.
am, and this is bothering me.
Charlie
Blackmon.
The Rockies. Wow.
Wow. I'll say this. We could have been here till the start of the show tomorrow.
We could have,
Charlie
because
Blackmon.
I don't even know who that is, Hoss.
Charlie Blackmon, let's see, the song, he has the great walk-up music, and the crowd goes crazy on it every time he comes up to play.
Yeah, I forget what song, but I know what you're talking about.
I don't want to lose your love.
Yes, yep.
And they all yell, tonight.
Yeah, Danny was talking about that, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great hitter. I believe Charlie Blackmon went to Georgia Tech.
Really?
Yeah. How about that? I don't think he
He's got
grew
a nice
that beard there. Oh,
he's got a nice mountain man look, that's for sure.
Listen, there's a bird's nest in that thing.
Yeah, he's been with the Rockies for a long time. I didn't realize that.
Shall we check in with Coach B?
Let's do it.
Ron Bargatze joining us for his weekly Thursday visit. Coach B, how are you?
Good afternoon.
What's going on?
What's up, Coach?
Just waiting to see Kelly.
That's right, baby. I got somebody that likes me. Everybody wants Watson back, so that's how it goes. You know how it is, Coach.
He'll be back tomorrow. By the way, we can't get you.
Watson, my old baseball teammate.
Nice. Was he any good at baseball? Were you any good at baseball?
I tell you, Watson was a really good baseball player, very good, and he had that issue with his left arm. It was
football injury.
Yeah, it was a old injury that went bad, and but he was amazing. He was a great baseball player.
You got a little Johnny Cash look going, Coach. Is that
Who?
is that you?
Black,
is that black?
black.
Is that a black shirt?
Black on black, yeah.
Black on black, baby. Little Johnny Cash action, man. I love it.
Wow.
First time I've ever been talking about in the same breath as Johnny Cash. I'm getting there, man.
I see.
Coach B, when did you decide to do that?
Black on black?
Yeah.
I have them out fixed. They're all picked out for about the next 3 weeks. I have a little culinary. No, that's cooking, isn't it? I have an assistant that picks out my clothes for me. Tiger Woods knows what he's going to wear every tournament.
Hey, here's the deal too. When Peyton was a rookie, he didn't know how to match clothes, so he would have pictures. He would take Polaroid pictures of what his mom set out for him, and he would look at those pictures, and he was like, "Okay, I'm going with this."
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious, man.
When Peyton was a rookie, he had that Stewart guy in front of him, and he had Todd Helton in front of him.
Yeah.
And Peyton was kind of where Arch is right now. Next thing you know, injuries came about, and Peyton was thrown in there, and the rest is history.
I remember the first time he played, man. Me and my wife were in the car, and I didn't realize he's going to be my teammate next year, or the couple of years from then. But like, I remember the first time hearing him play. He got, I guess he went in for somebody that did get injured, and he never gave the job back.
No, it's like Wally Pipp. You remember him?
Yep. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Never saw Wally Pipp.
Never saw, but I've heard the story many times. Everybody calls you Wally Pipp. You know how that goes.
Oh yeah, well,
George is involved in something right here. It's like high tech stuff.
I am, and I've kind of screwed it up. But anyway, let's do this, Coach B. I want you to hear something that went on yesterday on the show, and this comes from former Kentucky quarterback great Tim Couch about the possibility of him leaving Kentucky.
Yeah, I felt exactly the same way you did when Coach Newton told me, he said I felt a coach for, because my freshman year I had Bill Curry. Right. And, we were running the option, and it was a miserable experience. Obviously, I'm not an option quarterback. So I was actually going to transfer, after my freshman year because it just wasn't a good fit for me here schematically, what they were trying to do. So Coach Curry gets fired about halfway through my freshman year, and CM Newton came to me and he said, before you make a decision, will you go through the process with us here? We're going to find a coach that'll fit your style of play. And I said, absolutely. I'll be glad to wait a little bit till we find a coach. And he brings in this guy and he says, I got your guy. Come over and meet him. His name's Hal Mummy. And I was like, I don't know who Hal Mummy is. He goes, he's from Valdosta State. I was like, I've never even heard of Valdosta State. I don't know any of these guys. So it was total shock for me. But the beautiful thing about Hal is, right away that he was an innovator. He was ahead of his time. In 1997, no one was, in the SEC especially, no one was really thinking, I'm going to drop back and throw it 50 times. It was very much a running conference. Steve Spurrier was starting to throw the ball a little bit, but he was still pretty balanced, really, in his systems. Coach Mummy and Coach Leaf sat me down, and they said, this is what we're going to do with you. They showed me video of what they did in their previous places they coached. And to me, the biggest thing, it just felt like a lot like what I did in high school, just being in the shotgun, let me be an athlete, let me see the field, let me get the ball out of my hand quickly and accurately. And it just felt like a good fit. And more than anything, Hal just makes you believe in it. And, so I jumped on board right away. I told Coach Newton, I said, listen, I'm all in. I'm staying. I want to play for this guy. This is going to be awesome. I think it's going to be a perfect fit. And sure enough, we hit the ground running right out of the first game we played against Louisville and never looked back.
Okay, so you're probably wondering, Coach B, why did I play that for you?
I think I could probably figure that one out.
Okay. So I don't think it's any secret that I have for months now believed it's time for a change at Vanderbilt basketball. The quicker, the better. But there are a lot of people who've said, what's the point, whether it's now or the end of the season. But what I heard yesterday really changed my tune a little bit. The point for me being this. Yeah, they're not very good. It's one of the most stupidly put together rosters I have seen in a while. Makes no sense. The round peg in a square hole kind of thing. It's a roster full of mid-majors with 2 or 3 exceptions. And one of those is a kid named Jason Rivera-Torres, who it hit me very early in the season, has a level of athletic ability that none of the others that he brought in this year have got. So I went and checked in on Jason Rivera-Torres a little bit, and this comes straight out of Vanderbilt's media stuff. Member in high school of the National Honor Society and Spanish National Honor Society. Well, given my struggles in Spanish, I think that means he must be fairly smart. And then this note that really has nothing to do with anything, starred in Swagger, an Apple TV series with Kevin Durant as one of the executive producers. Now, One of the things that has made no sense to me in the Jerry Stackhouse era is who gets what minutes in playing time. I can't figure out his substitution patterns, and nobody else out there with a brain can either. This is a kid he has really screwed with when it comes to playing time. Kid's got some ability. Now, he didn't play a lot of defense, and I'll acknowledge that. But I want to show you in the last 4 games this kid's minutes on the floor. He gets 28 against Tennessee. He gets 14 against Auburn. He gets 4 against Missouri, and he gets 14 against Kentucky. So when his parents get on the phone with him and say, "What do you think?" This kid's throwing his hands up going, "Hell, I don't know. I can't figure him out." So, Coach B, my point to this is getting rid of him now would allow Candace Lee to go to whatever they think are the serviceable parts on this dysfunctional franchise and basically say, listen, before you bolt out of here, because we're pretty certain if the status quo stays the status quo, you're leaving. Give us a chance to get a coach. You meet with him. If you like him, we hope you'll stay. And if you don't like him, we understand. Comment.
Well, I think Torres may not be the right guy to do that. I think Tyler Tanner would be a better choice. Tyler Tanner is a really, really good player and a great kid, great family. And there's no question in my mind that he has got to be right in the center of their future plans. So who knows in today's world where people are coming and going and NIL money is available and transfer portal and all that stuff. I don't know. They don't have Tim Couch waiting in the wings. We know that, but maybe Tyler Tanner.
Okay, you've seen Tyler Tanner. Give us some thoughts.
Well, he's to me, he's a guy that's you got to go with him day one. He's a great playing his normal position, point guard. He's a 6-footer. He's not really tall, but he plays very large and he really gets the ball to the right people and he can score. I saw him play at CPA about 10 days ago, and CPA in that game was behind Brentwood Academy 36-28 with about 4 minutes to go in the first half. Tyler Tanner had 33 points, ended up with 51. And there's a school of thought that you don't want a point guard who's a big scorer because he's there to distribute the ball, run the show, etc. But Tyler Tanner can do any of the above. So I think he's going to be he's a great signee. He's going to be a big help to them. And he's bigger than Ezra Mannion, not as big as Lawrence, but I'll tell you, he's a very consistent player. If they hand him the keys to the car on day one, then I think they're in good shape, and he'll do an unbelievable job. Really, really tough guy to guard because he can shoot it outside. He can take it to the basket and finish, or he can take it to the basket and hit the open man.
Okay, I want to try this on all of you. Billy, put you in the picture. Put Kelly in the picture. On second thought, maybe let's just go with the 3 of us and X Kelly out. No, seriously, if you were to right now remove the name Vanderbilt from the equation and you showed this coach's resume in year 5, would anybody truly argue, got to go, got to make a change?
No, I mean, it's not. I don't think it's really up for any discussion at this point.
Coach B?
Well, I spent my time coaching, and I've been in some situations where I probably wasn't as welcome as I would like to have been. So there's always speculation on the coach and what the future is. And none of us know what that is right now, and certainly no one is playing their cards to say along those lines. They have ended up with a very strange roster and a very, very strange group of players in terms of what they can do. They're not heavily laden with really strong SEC quality players. What I would say is take all the teams in SEC and look at their roster, and then tell me where the current Vanderbilt players, who's going to start on what team. And that would be very difficult to figure out and put them in competition with the current players on those teams. Not much playing time there for those guys.
Mannion is the one exception, could play for any of them.
Well, he can play for them, but who's he going to start in front of at Tennessee, at Kentucky, at South Carolina? You know, you got a small point guard who's depending totally on his speed and his ability to break down the defense and get it to someone else, score a few points along the way. And I agree with you. I think he is the guy that would get more minutes around the league than anyone else on their roster.
If you took him out of this equation, they'd be god-awful.
Well, Lawrence has got the ability to do it. He doesn't appear to me to be his body language does not scream to you leader, all in, that sort of thing. So he's on the transfer block last year, right after the season, and so he was basically checked out, and he came back and got paid for it, and or so I hear, but he has not been the player I thought he was last year.
Couple of things have happened, and I want to talk about these. For the first time, I have given Jerry a lot of credit, not for a lot, but his teams have played hard for him. And that's been part of the equation that I've got to admit to until Tuesday night. And when Kentucky got off to a good start, I thought their interest level in being there went in the toilet. And in the second half, Kentucky had something like 12 dunks. And I was like, they've mentally checked out.
Well, commonly you would think that if you get behind early like that against a good team, you got to extend your defense some and make things happen. And Kentucky had all the answers. And like you said, they had dunks and uncontested layup shots one after the other, and it just became a big snowball in the wrong direction.
Here's the part that we don't talk about a lot, but having grown up in the shadows of all this, I always knew really what was what. Who were the decision makers? Where's the chancellor? Where's the AD? Coach B, I'll admit, I throw up my hands. I haven't got a clue what it is they're attempting to really do. Got a chancellor that when he got here, put some money where his mouth was, $300 million, something like that, to start the process. In recent times, I don't know where he stands. I haven't got the foggiest clue if he's sitting back waiting to tell her soon, get rid of this guy. I don't know what her feelings are in this. She didn't hire Jerry Stackhouse. She appears on the surface to be very supportive of him, and I've put it out there that if she supports him too long, she's going to get fired eventually if she stands up for him too long. What is the lay of the land over there? I have no idea.
Well, I think, first of all, you have to say that we saw this starting with Presbyterian and some other losses against teams that you expect to blow out. Those what I call guarantee games early in the season. We've seen a couple of nice efforts overall, but the results have not been there. And we don't know. You know that there have been a lot of conversations around the athletic department and the connection. I don't think any of us know what the hierarchy is, who's calling the shots, and but we need to see some. It's going to be a little bit yet before anybody's ready to play their hand, and I would say that it's going to be just a guessing game for the next 2 to 3 weeks. And when I looked at the upcoming schedule for the remainder of the year, there I don't see very many wins on there, so it's going to probably get worse before it gets better. Now, if they turn it around and where they are mentally right now, and can be competitive down the stretch like they were last year, who knows what can happen? So I think the end of the story has not been written yet.
Okay. We'll go to the break on that. Billy, you got anything you want to lay out there?
Oh, I'm good.
Really?
Coach B laid it all out there.
Keeping quiet, are we? Kelly, what do you make of that?
I mean, he's just hey, Coach B's pretty smart, man. He's throwing it out there. He's kind of like Danny Evans when he gets on here, and I'm loving the deal that he didn't fall for the Torres kid. I mean, I know you like him, George, but hey, Coach put it out there. I mean, he's the other guy may be a little bit better. So, but you can just tell the knowledge that this guy's got. And I'm going to ask him a question about coaching when we get to it, because I'm kind of like go off the beating path with this stuff, like with Danny Evans, and that's what I'm going to do with Coach B here.
Okay. Well, you will have your time after the break. I have left a lot of meat on the bone.
You have.
You take it wherever you want.
You have.
Kelly Holcomb's in the On Deck Circle. We're coming back.
It was the most horrible experience that any mother could ever go through. I knew that I needed to get help. My friend, she immediately said, "You need to call Bart Durham." And you guys were there within an hour. You guys are like family for us.
Yeah, sure is nice to connect with the people that you're doing your best to help.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donley Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donley have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to donleytimmons.com.
The George Plaster Show is Nashville's best sports talk, 2 to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. There's a podcast version available on Spotify and Apple Podcast. Looking for more than just awards and trophies? Southern Trophy House is your one-stop solution. For over 60 years, their team has created lasting impressions with a personalized touch. From embroidery to screen-printed apparel to corporate awards, signs, and name badges, they have everything you need to keep your brand shining bright. With their knowledgeable customer service team, you can relax as they create, produce, pack, and ship merchandise and awards on time and on budget. That includes etched crystal awards, custom-cut acrylic, name badges, embroidered Richardson ball caps, banners, screen-printed T-shirts, laser-engraved Yeti cups, and knives. Recognize your hard-working team from Southern Trophy House, where they do their best to help you recognize your best. Located at 2705 Nolensville Pike in Nashville. Give them a holler, 615-256-7295. Visit southerntrophy.com. Southern Trophy House for all your personalization and recognition needs.
On the surface, I'm going to give Kelly the benefit of the doubt going into this segment, Billy.
Okay.
I'm going to say that it'll be a little like the Danny Evans stuff. Pretty interesting. He'll play dumb.
I don't know if it's going to be that involved.
Baseball, he plays really dumb.
We're counting on it, Kelly. You've got to lift up the first segment.
Well, I'm going to belabor the point a little bit because I want to go back to the Vandy deal, and I want to go at it this way. And I know it's hard because we're talking about, hey, should he be fired? Shouldn't he? We don't know that because we're not in the room, and Coach did a really good job of discussing that. We don't really know that, but I think it's kind of like the MTSU football. And I talked to Derek Mason today. I was able to talk to Coach Mason and just talk to him about some stuff over at Middle. And he was quite shocked because it's been 10 years, I think, George, since I've been to a Middle game. I just refused to go over there. And it's because that I got tired of watching 6-6 every year, or 5-7, or 7-5, and then go to a bowl game and lose the game. And that's just what it seems like has happened at Vanderbilt basketball. It's like everybody's apathetic and nobody cares anymore. And I think that's what happened at Middle Tennessee with their football program. And we've never, I don't know if we've ever been a juggernaut, but like I played in the OVC. We used to win the OVC, and, it was us and Eastern every year. It was a different time, different era. I understand that. But when you get to the point of being apathetic and nobody wants to go to games and nobody cares, nobody's talking about it, it might be time for a change. And that's kind of where I see this thing going, because you got to get people excited about it, and it just does not seem like people are excited about Vandy basketball. And when I was growing up, I used to remember watching some games from Vandy, and I enjoyed watching it. But now, like I wouldn't even want to watch it, and that's kind of, that's more of a comment, but it's just like I think that you have to do something with him, or you've got to set some strict deadlines for him and tell him this is how we're going to do this. And no coach wants to be told that. So they're in a tough spot right now. But I just think if you bring him back, you're going to get the same result as you had this year. That's kind of where I'm at. I don't know how I don't know if coach feels that way, but that's kind of how I feel. But that was a comment, but my other deal is this.
Now, do you want him to comment on your comment?
No, if he wants to, he can. It doesn't matter. I've got some coaching questions, but you can comment on that if you want there, Coach.
Well, it's interesting. As I left the Belmont-Murray State game last night, going into the parking garage, in front of me was Rick Byrd and Dick Horton. Dick Horton is the godfather of golf in Tennessee, and since he came here in the early 70s, just really made Tennessee golf something special. So Dick is between Rick Byrd and myself, and he calls Rick Byrd coach and turns around and calls me coach. And I thought to myself, that is probably the worst example I've ever seen of a guy winning 800 games and respected by everyone, and having been called coach, and then he turned around and called me coach. That's not fair. It's not fair to Rick. So if you're asking me to be philosophical and wise in this situation, I'll be the first to say that I'm just like anybody else on the street. I love basketball. I go to a ton of games, and I have my opinions, but that doesn't mean that they're all right. But so get back to the subject here.
Well, with that being said, who was the best coach that you coached with?
On the same side of the floor?
Absolutely.
I can tell you a lot more about the coaches that you hate to coach against. I had some great people to work with through the years. I had a Kenny Sidwell, my college coach. I worked for him at Tennessee Tech. Roy Skinner, still the winningest coach ever at Vanderbilt. I had great 7 years with him. We had a lot of good teams, a lot of good success. And while we've been on the phone, I had a call from a player of the 70s. He doesn't live in town now, but he happened to call in, and I have probably 7 or 8 of these calls every week about what do you think about what's going on at Vandy, and most all of them sound a little bit like George Plaster in terms of what their feelings are for Vanderbilt basketball right now, and the disappointment that they have on a tradition they built over a number of years, and now to see what's happening is not much fun for anybody.
So who was the best coach that you coached under?
Oh, I mean, we had great success with Roy Skinner, and not many people really understand Coach Skinner. He was a very soft-spoken, easygoing guy, but the guy knew that they have a scoreboard on the end of the gym for a reason, and you got to get more points than the other team. And he did a lot of things that people never really appreciated as much as they should have, but he was an excellent coach. And Coach, I tell you what, Coach Skinner left coaching for. He's a pretty young man when he left, had a lot of success. He hated really physical play and hated for the game to get to where the strongest, physically strongest team would win. And he saw basketball going in a different direction. He liked a really pretty game. He liked to run the ball up and down the court. He was a great guy to work for. And so I would have to say that the guys I've coached with, he was the best.
What do you think the characteristics of a coach that, in your opinion, what would the characteristics of your favorite coach be?
Well, I think number one is the day I left Vanderbilt and took the job at Trevecca, C.M. Newton pulled me off to the side after the game, and George and I share a great admiration for Coach Newton and what he did and the kind of person he was. Coach Newton said he grabbed me by the collar and pulled me off to the side as we were leaving the floor, and he said, "Look, I know you're taking another job, but remember one thing. If you don't recruit, you're not going to win." And you can say all you want to, but we were always, when I was at Vanderbilt, always fortunate to get smart players who could shoot, who were from good programs, and they were, for the most part, very easy to coach. And because you all shared a common opinion about how you need to do things. And so that was probably the most important. Well, I think I knew that deep down, but that drove the point home. You're not going to go out there and out coach everybody every night. You better get some players that can do things you want to do. Now, I've seen some players, Indiana State and Drake and Bradley, some teams in the Missouri Valley Conference. And of course, while Belmont was in the OVC, I saw a lot of games there, some excellent coaches there in that league. So you got to coach them up, but you better get some players that can do things, because the coach is not a ventriloquist, or he's not a guy a puppeteer. He's got to have players that can get the job done on the court. So recruiting is number one, and I think that's totally 80% of why Vandy's where they are right now.
Now, I know you watch a lot of basketball. I know you're keyed in with the SEC and probably all over the country, but who is a team that has a really good, Mike Krzyzewski's gone, Bobby Knight, Lord rest his soul, he's gone. Some of the older guys are gone, but who do you, if you're sitting down to watch a game right now, who do you like watching and who do you like being coached by when you see a team on TV?
Well, I enjoy watching Rick Barnes' teams play because he's demanding of the players. And I think one of the greatest compliments he ever got was when Dalton Connect said he wanted to go to Tennessee because he wanted to be coached hard. And Rick Barnes cuts him no slack and does a great job. Right now, Lamont Paris looks like the best coach in the country because of what he's done in his 2 years at South Carolina. An unbelievable job. I like to watch Buzz Williams coach and like to watch his teams play. because I like to see coaches who run a program where there's a lot of respect both ways, player to coach, coach to player. I mean, I can go back. One of the great coaches I ever saw coach the game was Dick Bennett, who was at his son is also a great coach at Virginia. Because
he was at Wisconsin Green Bay.
Yeah, that's where he became well known, and then he was at Washington State after that, and continued to really coach the game well. But great guy to talk to, first class guy in every way, and guy you really like to be around.
Well, my last deal here is Tennessee. You brought up Rick Barnes, which I enjoy watching Rick Barnes teams because I think he does it the right way. There's other people that do it the right way, but I enjoy watching his teams. But we talked last week about in the South Carolina loss, they kind of got one-dimensional and everybody just sat on the edges and they watched Dalton Connect, see if he could go win the game for them. But then they went to Kentucky and they scored over 100 points at Kentucky. And you see this guy, Josiah Jordan James, and then the Ziegler kid, they both scored 26 points each. So that seems like the team that could get to the Final Four, but it's not the one that sits around and watches Dalton Connect. Am I correct?
Right, because I think the game at Kentucky is the best thing that could have happened to make their team come together and have some cohesiveness to it. And Vesky is back in the picture now. James is in the picture. Ziegler's in the picture. And of course, Adu's a very nice player inside. And they can go to their bench and get some things they don't have on the starting five. So they've got all the pieces, and I'd love to see them advance because I think that Rick Barnes coaches the game the way it should be, and I think he's a very high-character guy.
Coach, Auburn whips up on Alabama last night, and they split that series, almost put up 100 points. And Nate Oates and his team, I think, got to figure some stuff out defensively because if they can't guard, they're not going to beat anybody in March. What did you see? I don't know if you watched last night, but what are you noticing about Auburn, and do you think they are maybe just as dangerous as Tennessee this year?
Well, it's pretty interesting that one of their very best players, Broome, was the OVC Player of the Year just 2 years ago. And, I mean, there are a lot of guys at the mid-majors who slip through the cracks but get into a good program where they can flourish and become great players at any level. And unfortunately, nowadays, the mid-majors are the best recruiting grounds that a lot of the Power Five schools have. They come in there and find these guys who've grown a couple inches, who've developed their game, who get in a system that matches up with their abilities. And one thing, when Bruce Pearl is coaching a game, there's no question where his passion is and what he demands. And so Nate Oates and Bruce Pearl, two great coaches who do it a little differently. But when it comes down to the bottom line, look at the athletes that they have on their teams.
One more for me in the SEC overall. I mean, do you look at it in tiers? I mean, is it Tennessee, Auburn, Alabama for you, and is Kentucky in that top tier? So I mean, and where is the first tier for you in the SEC?
Well, what do you do with Dillingham? Is what I want to know. Man, that he's instant offense, isn't he? But I think Tennessee and Kentucky. I mean, Tennessee's in that top tier for sure, with South Carolina, Auburn, Alabama, and Tennessee. And then I think you got Florida on the outside edge getting in. They've got the talent to do it. And then I think you got a bunch of teams there between Florida, A&M, Ole Miss, LSU. They're all right there, and they can beat anybody on a given night. And then you get into Arkansas, Vandy, and Missouri, and you got to really look hard for wins for those teams.
So in mid-March, is South Carolina still at this level? Or
I don't know, George. I'm just now learning the players' names there, and I'm very impressed with the way he coaches the game. He was an assistant under Keith Dambrot at Akron, and Keith is a great guy, a great coach. When I was at Austin Peay, he was a grad assistant, entry-level coach at Akron at the time. Then he took over the program, and Kevin James knows his phone number. So all of a sudden, he's got a little magic about him. but he's worked under some good coaches, and he's really taken. He had a great program at Chattanooga, right here down the street from us. So I'm highly impressed with Coach Paris.
On that topic, Chattanooga has produced some really good coaches. Matt
Yes, they have.
McCall, who is not in the coaching world anymore. Not McMahon. Will Wade was at Chattanooga, and now Paris. I don't know what's in the water down there.
Mac McCarthy. Was there.
Yeah,
had some good teams. Yeah, Chattanooga is a great. You got a nice town. I love Chattanooga, the city, and they'll gather around those mocks and pump them up a little bit. So yeah, they've got a good combination of a place to recruit to. As Denny Crum said, if you're coaching a university that's on a river, you got a chance.
Good stuff, Coach B.
All right, guys.
Check out Jason Rivera Torres. He's better than you think he is.
Let me tell you, George, if he's got the right players around him, he's awesome.
Okay. I'll take it and run with it. We'll go to the break on that. Kelly, in case you're wondering, we're on a winning streak.
Oh, really?
Yes, we are. Will that continue? Lord only knows. We're back to figure it out right after this.
Hit After Hit has become the baseball store in Tennessee. They have over 1,000 different models of gloves and over 1,500 wood bats. They also have several Iron Mike pitching machines as well as a Hit Tracks machine. If they don't have it, you probably don't need it. We're proud to call Hit After Hit the official shirt provider of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night.
Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com. Star Physical Therapy was established in 1997 with one great mission: to serve. If you're hurting, don't wait to receive physical therapy. You don't need a referral to see their physical therapist, and early morning and evening appointments are available. Make the call to 615-673-1420 and get rid of that pain. Star Physical Therapy, the official health provider of Football Friday.
You were in a crash.
Yeah.
Your kids were in the car with you.
We're very lucky to even be telling this story to you. Nikki treated us like family, and she was very caring and loving, and I'm just so grateful for that. She was somebody I could trust, and being a veteran, that's so important to me. My kids are going to have a better life now because I don't have to worry about those expenses that we were out. Your family has really created a legacy of trust, and I would recommend you to anyone.
You know, starting to save for your future doesn't have to be difficult. Let Wilson Bank and Trust help tone up your financial goals this year. Our certificates of deposits or CDs can help your money work harder with our competitive rates, earning you more than ever before. WBT checking options allow you to earn rewards you can really use, like a high interest rate or cash back on check card purchases when you meet some e-banking qualifications. Visit your closest Wilson Bank and Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC.
Final segment on a Thursday. Limited hoop slate tonight. But we'll see where George is going either way. It's brought to you by Bart Durham Injury Law. Give them a call, 615-242-9000, or log on to bartdurham.com. All right, let's see what happened last night. Boom, couple of wins.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I see you. I see you, George.
The first one was easy. Auburn won in a blowout. This is simply when you go on the road right now in this league, man, it is tough.
Yeah.
The other one, I was fortunate. Belmont, it basically came down to the final couple of possessions in the last minute of regulation. Some free throws got it to 5, but man, it was up in the air. Good basketball game. Felt lucky to win.
Did you say thank you to Malik Dia after the game?
I didn't really say much of anything. I went to the garage and got out.
How did he do? Did he have another big game? Or
He was pretty good. He was pretty good. Cade Tyson kept them in the game. When they got down about 7, he hit 3 big buckets in a row to kind of get them back. So, Kelly, we're on an uptick.
Nice.
Yeah.
I see you.
Okay, the question is, does it continue? Tonight, 2 plays. There's the first one. Okay. Iowa shoots the ball pretty well. It's never easy when you go to Penn State because they try to keep it in the 60s, keep it low scoring. I just think Iowa's better, period.
We'll see.
Here's one that you got to stay up late to watch. Look, neither one of these are God's gift to basketball. Would I make Oregon State a 9.5-point dog in this game? No. That seems a little much. Washington State, they're better. I don't hear anybody going, oh, Washington State. Let's take Oregon State.
Because is this still a rivalry in basketball? I mean, I don't
even know. Play basketball? I didn't even know they play basketball out there, do they?
Yes, they do. Bill Walton last night on the Cal USC game.
Conference of Champions.
Oh, he kept referring to it.
Not anymore. That's a dead conference, Bill.
And then he picked out some of the biggest Cal boosters. Jane Doe is here tonight, and Dr. Doe is here, and Mr. Pasteur, who created, he just goes on and on with this crap.
Have y'all seen that 4-part series with him?
He is a hoot.
No.
He's a hoot, man. That was pretty good, actually. That was well done. I'll
say this. I enjoyed listening to him, even though he's completely full of bull. But as a play-by-play announcer, he would be hard to work with because you never know when he's going to break off. Well, you don't know when he's going to break away from the game to give you all this stuff about the Grateful Dead and you just don't know.
That's what makes him interesting, though.
Yeah. It's interesting. He always walks the line. It's not. He doesn't really get too out of line with what he says.
He reels it back in.
Yeah, he's good at that. He's smart enough to know that.
The best that works with him, who has figured him out, is Pash.
Yeah,
Pash calls him out and basically says, "You're full of bull." and then Walton will go, "What was your name?" Or he'll go, "It is Dave, isn't it?"
Them together.
He's good, man.
He's a trip.
You could put a couple of high school teams, and if they're calling it, I'd watch.
So you have tomorrow off.
George, I just wanted to say, and I've already told Billy this. I texted him earlier. I said, it's uncanny when you just take every question that I've got written down or in my head. It's uncanny. Like every one of them that you asked Mark McGee, that's what I was going to ask Mark McGee.
Well, he asked about 6 of them.
I did.
I know. And I'm like, everything that he's asking is.
Then bust in.
I'm not going to do that. You're the guy that's been doing this for 40 years, dude, not me.
And today I feel like it. Have a good weekend. We'll see you Monday. Who wins?
I'm going 49ers. Brock Purdy, baby. Let's go.
Well, I'm not. Let's go.
No, you're not.
No, I'm not.
You're going with old Patty Holmes, huh?
Yeah, red, baby.
Kelly's for his guy, Brock Purdy.
I like old Brock Purdy, man. He
I don't
Hey,
dislike
they've never
it.
been to, they've never been there, and they've never won those games that they won against Detroit. And the game before that, I can't remember even which one was that, but they've never won games like that. And he's, Cam Newton gets on there and says, "Hey, you're the 11th best player on the team," and Brock Purdy says, "You know what? I don't care." And you know what? There's 90 football players out there that are quarterbacks in the National Football League, and guess what? You're not one of them, which was a great comeback. I love
That
it.
was.
Hey, see you Monday.
See y'all.
We'll
See ya.
see all of you tomorrow. Mark Griffin will join us. So will Coach Watson Brown. See you then.